Hi there, welcome to a brand new series of episodes here at Lankanverse, Being Lankan. In this series of episodes, we thought of opening a corridor to some of Sri Lanka's finest personalities to let them tell us their story, not just to keep our viewers entertained and informed, but also to motivate them to travel in their formidable avenues. For our first program, an amazing person is joining us, and you would love to hear his story. I think it would be interesting. To find out more, stay tuned. We all love cricket, and that is the biggest reason we thought we bring this person into the newest episode here at Being Lankan. We might have played different games and aced in different sports, but cricket is a common interface we all love to talk about. Whether it's the home front yard or the school's ground, we have played cricket at least at some point in our lives. In the most prominent case, irrespective of the gender. So today, the person who's joining us has some tact to the game because he is the only Sri Lankan cricket bat manufacturer who's standardized by the ICC. Today, we'll be looking into the insides of Sahan Dikmadugodage's life and business. He is the CEO and founder of Staunch. Hi Sahan, welcome to the show. We are glad to have you here on the first episode of Being Lankan. We've already given you an introduction. In the recent past months, as all of us faced a problem as one planet, in Sri Lanka people spoke about the Made in Sri Lanka tagline. That's when you became a hot topic. And ever since you started, people spoke about you. You've been in the headlines. So many people might know you, some might not know you. Even for the people who knows you as a blooming entrepreneur who has a foreign accent. So we'll start from the basics. Who are you, Sahan? What have you done?
All right, thanks. First of all, thanks for having me. My name is Sahan Dikmadugodage. I'm 24 years old. I was born and raised in Australia. I went to schooling in Australia and everything. And then recently I moved to Sri Lanka to start this entrepreneur business.
So you said you were born in Australia, and tell us about your family, your education, and currently you're based in Sri Lanka doing businesses.
Oh yeah, so pretty much I grew up with my mum and dad and my younger brother and sister. I went to Werribee Secondary College, which is a school in Australia, Victoria. I went to Monash University for university studies. I was studying international commerce there. And then I only had a year to go before I dropped out and I moved to Lanka to start this venture.
We were quite interested to hear about you, but we will move on to the hot topic for today. What is Staunch?
Staunch, so pretty much in a recap, Staunch is Sri Lanka's first and only cricket bat manufacturer. We are ICC approved. We manufacture cricket bats right here in Sri Lanka, importing English willow straight from Australia and the UK. Right now we're in a process, we're manufacturing cricket bats. The next stage is pretty much to manufacture cricket balls, gloves, pads. Pretty much my dream is to manufacture all the cricket equipment in Sri Lanka.
You were talking about manufacturing of bats. It is indeed the primary element of Staunch. So we'll talk about manufacturing of bats and why is Staunch bats different from any other bat and why is it important to Sri Lanka?
Yeah, so pretty much the difference right now in Sri Lanka is when I came to Sri Lanka in 2017, the bats were overpriced in the regular market. They were around 90,000 to 1 lakhs, which is ridiculously overpriced in Sri Lanka. In Australia, it's not even that price. Probably in Australia, roughly, it's about 40,000 to 50,000. So that's one thing, we're cheaper. The other thing is most domestic cricketers or even school cricketers in Sri Lanka, even international cricketers can't get custom-made bats. They have to go to India, Pakistan, UK, Australia to manufacture custom-made bats. So that's really a hassle. Most people don't have that luxury of going overseas. So right now we're customizing the cricket bats according to the needs of all the cricketers. So that's one of the main things. That's the weight of the balance. Everything is more customized to every single player, how we want it. We customize the bats in our stock range as well. Low sweet spot, high sweet spot, mid range. Everything's covered in Sri Lanka according to the pitch conditions and to the players' needs.
You spoke a lot about living in Australia. You seem to have a lot of roots there. You were born there, you grew up there, and you studied there. So Australia is a mammoth country when it comes to the point of cricket. How did living in Australia influence this? Either by the know-how or expertise?
Being honest, it didn't really change me as a person. It's just pretty much the word staunch and all that stuff. That's how it came from. But other than that, nothing really affected me in a sense that honestly it did help me that I went to university, studied there. I learned about the business industry, like social cultures and everything, how to handle coming to a foreign country. So that was one of the main things I learned. But other than that, it wasn't much of a thing. It was just a passion I had. I loved cricket bats since I was a kid, so that's where everything began for me.
So your passion into the game turned you here?
Pretty much, yeah.
We all know a cricket bat is a piece of wood, but also know that a log of wood cut into the shape of a bat would not cater the need. How does a random log of wood is turned into a bat of the proper need?
So pretty much it's called English willow, a Salix alba tree. They're grown in the UK, Australia predominantly. So that's where the trees are grown. It's cut into pieces and then dried and then cut again. It's a very long process. For the tree to grow, it takes about 15 to 20 years. So it's a long process. Then after it's cut down, it'll take another 3 to 6 months around there to be dried, killed, shaved into a cleft, and then shipped to Sri Lanka. So the whole process, we have to notify our suppliers probably 8 months in advance before we even order it.
You're talking about raw materials for the bats. So is it only imported from Australia or any other part of the world?
With the raw materials, I get them from Australia, the clefts. The trees are called Salix alba. It's an English willow tree. They're grown in Australia, UK predominantly. They're grown for about 10 to 15 years, maybe 20 years sometimes, before they're cut down. That takes 20 years for it to grow, and then after 20 years it gets cut down, and then my supplier cuts it down, splits it into pieces, dries it. It's usually a 6 to 8 month process, so we have to notify our suppliers 6 to 8 months in advance before we even start the order. And then after that, so pretty much it's dried and then gets shipped to Sri Lanka. And then when it arrives to Sri Lanka, it's really hot as well here, so the humidity of the wood actually goes up. So I've developed a kiln that keeps it at the Australian temperature. Dries the wood at a certain rate. So that's one thing with the raw materials from the wood. The other ones are the handles. I get them from India. They're a large supply that supplies it to a very well-known factory in India. So yeah, those are my two materials, the thread, the stickers. They're all done in India as well. I'm planning to ship them to Sri Lanka. So after that, I want to manufacture all this stuff in Sri Lanka and grow the raw materials. I'm planning to grow the clefts as well, English willow trees in Sri Lanka as well one day.
Sahan, listening to all this, we understand you are at the start of a visionary journey, and we wish you all the very best on it on behalf of our team. Staunch has a very little history. Where do you intend to take Staunch to?
My goal is, and my vision is to one day take Staunch into a global company, not just manufacture cricket bats. I want to manufacture cricket balls, gloves, pads, the whole lot, and then eventually venture into other sports. And then globally, Staunch will be recognized, and I want one day when a customer or consumer sees Staunch, they get a reminder of Sri Lanka. That's my goal one day. It's just one baby steps at a time, I guess.
Wishing on that. Living in Australia, what made you launch Staunch in Sri Lanka?
It goes a while back, so pretty much I was in uni, wasn't really liking it. I wasn't very the good child growing up. I was a bit rebellious, so I had this persona not go against the stereotypes, because in Sri Lanka, even in Melbourne actually, the culture is you go to school, go to university, you finish your degree, get your degree, then go get a job. It's pretty stereotypical stuff, which I'm against. I don't like stereotypes. And I thought just bend the rules. I saw a documentary on Steve Jobs, and which I was really fascinated about. I found him really interesting there. So that's where the idea pretty much came in. Like, I like cricket. This is something I loved. Thing is, when you do something that you love, that you don't feel like you're working at all. You feel like you're having fun every day. So this is pretty much my life. I'm enjoying my life right now. So yeah, that's where it began. I chased something. I did something that I loved, and here I am. I moved to Sri Lanka. It was a grind. It wasn't easy, but here we are right now.
So, as much as Australia, we all know that even Sri Lanka is a mammoth name when it comes to the cricketing world.
Yeah.
Any relationship with a Sri Lankan cricketer who has given you support or any other technical aspect from a person who is connected to cricket?
So yeah, Sachit Senaiker, he also helped me. Couldn't have asked much from him. He gave me a free cricket bat once at SSC. He said, Mali, make it to this level. So that's what I did. I started carving it, making it to that level. It was a very solid cricket bat idea he gave me. It's a very well marketed cricket bat. So yeah, him and also Aravinda De Silva, he helped me a lot. He introduced me to Upul Chandana, John T. Rhodes as well. Those three guys from, like, I just began in Sri Lanka in 2018. For them to help me out when they didn't even know me from a bar or soap. I have tremendous amount of respect for them, those three.
Having big names behind you.
Yeah, I do.
So we are all after a situation, COVID-19. How did the quarantine life affect Staunch?
Being real with you guys, it wasn't ideal at all. Simply because we're a startup, we're just finding our feet. We had a lot of momentum going forward. We got the ICC approval. We were on a big roll. Couldn't have asked for much more. And then everything went downhill. But you know, you just got to face it. You know, you cop it on the chin, you move on. It is what it is. We took a hit. We didn't get any. We got very little sales for the last 2 months. But once sales opened, we got 10 orders from the UK, another 5 orders from 5 orders here in Sri Lanka. That's from school cricketers, domestic cricketers. So it picks up again, which is really, I'm glad. But hopefully we keep at it. It's just that lost momentum that's might bite us back in the future. But what can you do? Everyone's copped it. It wasn't just us. So you just got to cop it and just move on, I guess.
So currently, do you have any ambassador to Staunch?
Right now we do. We have Umesha from the women's national team. She plays for the Sri Lankan. She's first drop. She's a wonderful player, excellent. The thing is, before COVID, we were planning to sign up for 4 or 5 national women's players. But unfortunately, because of the COVID, we didn't get to do that. But right now, we have Umesha from the women's national team, Nipun Karunayaka from the domestic Bloomfield. He plays for Bloomfield. We have Raminda Vijayasuriya. He plays for Berger Recreational Club. So yeah, we have a few names there. We have a few mates. Matthew Dyke playing in Australia. He's an Australian cricketer, Premier League player. So we have a few players here and there. We're actually planning to get an investment for the company to go for the next step, get those big names into the company. Because right now we have had very, very great feedback. It's one of the greatest we could have ever had. It's just getting that investment so we can go to the next step, sponsoring players, paying players for their uses with the bats. So yeah, that's where we are at now.
Sahan, your business stands out from the rest. Anything you would want to share with the blooming entrepreneurs?
To every entrepreneur out there, pretty much do what you love. Once you do that, once you find your passion, you'll be working like, you won't feel like you're working, like I said before. Every day feels like a challenge, but it's a nice challenge. I don't regret anything I've done. 2018, I copped it up really hard. It was really a struggle, but because the thing is, I had my passion for cricket. I loved cricket since I was a little boy. I loved cricket bats. Even at the stores back in Australia, with my ex-girlfriend, before we go to the movies, I'd go and pick up some cricket bats. And that's what we do, you know, every time even with mates, I always go to a cricket shop, pick up some cricket bats, play with them. I had a massive passion for cricket bats. And then, so yeah, once you're doing something that you love, it doesn't feel like work. So to any entrepreneur out there that wants to get into the game, do what you love and you won't regret it.
So that brings us to a close. Thank you very much for having us here, Sahan. We learned a lot and our viewers did too. We wish you all the very best on behalf of all our viewers and on behalf of our team, Team Lankanverse. So on the recent future, we hope to see you on big screens. We wish you all the very best.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it. Appreciate your time. Hopefully we meet again one day, mate.